It's good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so this is going to be the overview of award management presentation. So before I introduce myself along with some of my colleagues that we have here today, I do want to ask a quick question. So everyone here is a fellow? Yes, first time? First time? First time? Second time? No? No? Okay. Is anyone here from the Office of Sponsor Research? No? All right. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Get my mouse here. Okay, so I want to pause. Hello, come on in, have a seat. Welcome. I want to pause here because you'll hear some acronyms today that you may not be familiar with. So, we at the National Science Foundation love our acronyms, okay? So, at the top, we have the National Science Foundation, also known as NSF. And then we have the Division of Grants and Agreements, DGA. Then we have the Grants Management Specialist, GMS, and the Proposal and Award Policies and Procedures Guide, as we like to call it, the PAPG. So, as you can see from this slide, we have two of those acronyms. Starting off, I am Cartia Brown Morgan, a Grant Management Specialist in the Division of Grants and Agreements. I have the pleasure of working with the Division of Research on Learning in Informal and Informal Settings, also with the Division of Graduate Education, known as DGE. So, a little known fact about me, I love naps. So, some of you may be looking at me like, that's not a fun fact, but it's fun for me. Okay? So, also, I want to introduce Denise Martin. Denise is the branch chief for the STEM Education Directorate and the Mathematical and Physical Sciences Directorates. So this is why we love our acronyms, okay? So also I want to introduce Carly Hampton. Carly is our Grants Management Specialist Pathways intern. And so we are so excited that Carly is here with us today, and we look forward to what the future holds for her. Also on this screen, you'll notice that Denisa Trabiani is the Grant Management Specialist in DGA as well. She is, I have her acronyms here. She is with the Division of Equity for Excellence in STEM, EES, and the Division of Undergraduate Education, DUE. Also on the screen, you'll notice Angela Turner. She is our acting team lead in the EDU Directorate. Okay. So we're not going to be a tight bunch today. We're going to have some fun. So y'all can talk back to me. You can smile, put your thumbs up, put your thumbs down, sideways, whatever. Okay, let's just have some fun. So these are going to be the topics that we go over today. We even have some time for Q&A at the end in case you have any questions. Denise and I did bring our laptops in case you wanted to come over to us and ask us a question about your particular award. Okay. So let's talk about roles and responsibilities. So we have the PI, the PO, the GMS, and the SRO. So the PI will be you all as the fellow, okay? So let's go into each one. So fellows, like I said, are considered the PI, and the PI will be responsible for submission for the project reports. The term principal investigator also includes project director, or known as PD. So you'll hear PI or PD. Our program officers are considered subject matter experts in both technical and programmatic areas. They conduct the merit review of proposals, and they recommend which projects should be funded by the foundation. The scientific, engineering, and or educational aspects of an award will be monitored by the PO identified in your award notice. Moving on, the GMS. The GMS provides full award life cycle portfolio facilitation. We have the Warren Authority to issue awards on behalf of the foundation, and our approval constitutes a legal obligation of federal funds for awardees to fulfill the scope of the approved proposal. We are also responsible for issuing award amendments and certain post award prior approvals. So, in short, we are involved from pre award through closeout. The Sponsored Research Office. Okay, so SROs also ensure that expenditures are allowable, allocable, and reasonable. In the next slide, we are going to see just how important the SRO is. Let's talk about working relationships. I love this slide. Okay, so we're going to start with the PIs, you all. Let's follow the yellow arrows. If you have technical or scientific questions, you should be contacting your program officer, right? If you have a question about costs pertaining to your budget, you should contact your SRO. So let's just say you, as the PI, you have questions about charging something to your NSF award, and you contact your SRO, but they don't seem like they know the answer. Let's follow the white arrows. The SRO, and not you as the PI, should be contacting the GMS at NSF. Okay? The GMS is in contact with the SRO and has a close working relationship with the program officer for your award. All right, so everyone take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. These questions are just for fun. This is not a quiz, okay? As the PI, who should you contact for technical or scientific questions? Yell it out to me. Program officer, PO, yes. The NSF program officer. Okay, as the PI, who should you contact for budgetary questions? I like y'all today. Your sponsored research office. Okay, so now I'm gonna shift the question just a little bit. How many actions do you think DGA processed last fiscal year? Call out a number. 100? 100? That's, ooh. Any other numbers? Don't be shy. 100,000? Okay. What'd you think? Jessica with a K, what'd you think? 1,000? Oh, y'all are going to be shocked. Okay. You see those numbers? And that's just last fiscal year. So the GMS managed almost 50,000 active awards, and that's about 3,000 awards per specialist. Okay, 3,000. So I want y'all to keep that number in mind. Okay. Who do you think should contact the GMS with award specific questions? So you're going to see why I asked that previous question. Okay, it's going to make sense. Trust me. The SRO, right? And you see my little disclaimer at the bottom? Always include the award number in any email or communications to assist with a response to your inquiry. So, keeping in mind how many awards the GMS manages, we try our best to stress that if the SRO at your institution would like assistance from DGA in a timely manner, please include the award number in emails and voicemails. So think of it like this. When you call your cable or phone company, what is the first thing they ask you for? Your name and your account number. So when you're contacting NSF, think of the cable or phone company and provide your name and your award number. All right, so we're going to move on to notifications and requests. So, notifications and requests is how you, as the PI, let the PO know about changes that impact the award and require NSF approval. All of the requirements for these post-award responsibilities are covered in the PAPG. Also, if you log into research.gov, as you can see in this video, you can access a table of the different types of post-award actions with reference to the policy and who must approve it if required. Notifications do not require your approval, but all requests require NSF approval. There are a few that require only the program officer's approval, but the rest require DGA's approval based on program's recommendation. So there's also a prior approval matrix, which is showing right now, that is available as a resource. Awardees have the statutory, listen to this is a key. Awardees have the statutory authority to rebudget after an award is made unless it involves budget categories such as participant support costs and does not cause a change in the objective or scope of the project. So let's talk about processing delays. You see my little expect delays, my little construction sign there? Yes. So these are the top 3 reasons for delays. I do want to point out 2 of these 3, and that is the overdue projects report and unallowable or unjustified budget items. So we're going to look at reporting requirements first. So the National Science Foundation sends reminder notices for all reports when they are due and when they become overdue. The report requirements for an award are available to the PI via research.gov. So your sponsored research office can run a report to show all the reports that are due and overdue via research.gov for all of the organization's awards, not just your particular award. Any active personnel, the PI, must submit the report. The SRO does not have access to submit the actual report. They have access to view it, but not to submit it. When in doubt, contact your program officer or the help desk at research.gov. Now, as a fellow, you have additional requirements. So your interim report is an additional requirement for fellows. This report must include a letter signed by the postdoctoral fellow and the host mentor on expectations for the fellowship and the deliverables that must be produced at the end of the fellowship. Okay? Overdue reports. I hope you can hear me online because this is a big one. Overdue reports. A key thing to remember: failure to submit timely reports will delay processing of additional funding and administrative actions. I'm going to say it again. Failure to submit timely reports will delay processing of additional funding and administrative actions. So going back to my previous slide, the report is considered overdue the day after the required submission date. All right, uniform guidance cost principles. All costs should align with the uniform guidance 2 CFR 200. If you ever have questions like, can I charge something to my NSF award? Please start off by asking yourself this question. Are y'all ready? Shake your head. Y'all ready? Okay. Are the costs consistent with the terms and conditions of my award and my internal policies and procedures? That includes your solicitation. Okay? If you still don't know, ask yourself, does the cost follow the uniform guidance? Is it allowable, reasonable, allocable, and necessary for the conduct of the project? So, here are 3 top unallowable costs that apply in every circumstance. I have included the uniform guidance citation underneath each section. So costs must be both necessary and reasonable for proper and efficient performance and administration of the award. Okay, so take a look at that. All right. And so I know I have covered a lot so far, and I want to leave you with some key takeaways. All right. So the biggest one from me is, if you don't remember any of these other key takeaways, remember, utilize effective communication. always provide the proposal or your award number. Okay? I want to give you some additional resources. So on the left side of the slide, you'll notice that DGA's mission statement along with a hyperlink. So the hyperlink would take you to a PDF version of DGA's org chart, which has been provided to you on the right. The org chart shows our connection to the program offices. I want to highlight that Jamie French is our division director and Lisa Scott Mooring is our deputy division director. The green boxes that you will see highlights all the grants management specialists that are assigned to the different program divisions. And we all support our assigned directorates to provide full award life cycle portfolio facilitation. And this is just a little plug that if anyone here ever feels that your institution can benefit from an external outreach from our office, no problem. Just contact us because we love outreaches. Okay? So, the PAPG, or the Proposal and Award Policies and Procedures Guide, became a 23-1 became effective last month. So if you can scan this QR code, if you want to use your cell phone to scan that QR code, it will take you directly to the policy website at NSF. If you click on the PAPG link, you'll see that you'll have the option to view the HTML or PDF version. If you view the PDF version, you can use the find feature to search for keywords. So the PAPG is going to be your best friend if it's not already. I'll give you, I see someone else taking a picture. Everyone good? Good? Okay. So we like to say at NSF, ask early, ask often. You have us as a resource here today, but it doesn't stop today. Okay? And now we can turn it over for some questions. Yes. The reports? This one? Say again. 90 days prior to the end of your current budget period. So, mm, go ahead. Do I need to take the microphone around or okay? Okay. Okay. Let's, oh, the closeout phase. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. For the termination certificate. Uh huh. Mm-hmm. Regina, she's asking, is the termination certificate due 90 days after the termination of her fellowship? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Or after the final report? That's a solicitation requirement. Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was, but that was in your award letter, most likely. Yes, I read the award letter just in there, so it's required of you. Yeah, yeah. So it's okay. Yeah, it's a special condition, right? So it's all right. You're almost done. Yeah. Yeah, because that's the other thing. Emmanuel retired. He left, and there was like nobody handling this. So. Because we didn't have a competition last year, so they didn't need to think that they didn't assign another program officer. So we're getting it back up and running. So you're okay.
So unlike the annual progress report and the final project report, you'll get reminders from NSF. The intern, you may not get a reminder. So it's so important to read the document from the beginning to questions. If you have, because these awards are made directly to you all, is that right? So you are your SRO. If you have questions about the grants management side, you reach out to the Division of Grants and Agreements, and we'll try our best to answer or partner with the program officers to provide you with an answer. But often, even with the top 100 schools, you wouldn't believe how many of them do not read the award notice. We have people calling us and say, "Where's my money? When is the check going to come?" And we're like, "Did you read your award notice and the special conditions to tell you how you were going to get it?" So it's important, and like Gina said, it's not. The program went through a lot of transition over the last few years. So don't feel bad that you might be 90 days already in. You didn't get a reminder. You will get a reminder about that annual progress report, though, right? Yeah. You will get about that final progress report. Submit those, you'll get flagged in our system. And then if you're going to try to do a no cost extension or a PI change or something, we won't even, because you didn't submit the APR or the FPR. And it wasn't approved, right? So Gina and company has to approve the reports before we in the Division of Grants and Agreements can even do an amendment to the action or award um, um, an amendment. Yes, thank you, Cardia, to provide an amendment to the award. So always read your award letters from beginning, and no question is ever a silly question. If you do not know the answer, reach out. We always say, ask early, ask often. And we truly, truly mean that. Ask us. We'd rather help you in the beginning than in the end. We want to keep you out of trouble. We want to make sure that you're being accountable for the federal dollars. We want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the federal dollars. We work for you. We're the federal government. You're helping pay us, so we have to help you too. And we want to help you. This group here is so intimate, right? You have real people and faces. We were teasing Jessica from Puerto Rico. Say Jessica with a K. She can call me up and say, "Denise, I met you at the postdoc conference. What do you need, Jessica with a K?" If I do not know the answer, if I do not know the answer, I'm going to help her. And I extend that invitation to everyone in this room. I've been with the government or been with the National Science Foundation for 57 years, right? I'm on my way out of there. In the next few years, I'm going to get up out of there. But at the time, everyone in this room will. I got 37 years. I know somebody. I can find the person for you. So I think I just went on a rant rage.
One. There, no, 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 no. It's like, it's about, which one we want to that's it. So do we have to send a budget report? Do you want to send? Do we have to report to himself what our money was spent out and send receipts and everything else?
Let me talk about that. So this was a topic this morning, and here's the thing. Currently, all PRFs, they get an award directly to them. And so they're not accountable to an institution at all. So they are asking questions like, should they be keeping track of their expenses? Should they do, and I told them they should talk to you. Because I don't know the answers to those questions. You don't have to send that to NSF, but you may have to answer to the IRS, right? We talked about this morning, keep yourself covered, right? Yeah. Right.
Although it's not a requirement.
There's a, of course, the only time NSF check our budget and say if it was allowed or not would be maybe you or the.
Right.
And then there's a couple of notes on the proposal, some items of the budget that say, hey, you should do this, you should be less than this, but there's no really any other guidelines for us. And if NSF, I was thinking that NSF will require a report of expense. They send me I don't know, a list with all the expense before what you spend on another receipt for your truck. So all of that. But it is only for us. Of course, you're gonna keep track of it. Money that you have to respond to.
So yes. About a reasonable, allocable, please. Make sure the cost that you're using the dollar for requirement. Documentation. We're not going to ask you for a financial report, but like Gina said, you might have to something to the IRS. If you get audited, I can't remember I got actually audited, but if you got audited and they say, well, let me see what you spent your money on, you tell them, and this is being stretching it. You went to where?
They want to see everything.
Yeah. You went to the amusement park and took your kids to Disney. How is that for the project? It's just like you said, you're keeping the documentation for yourself, so keeping those in mind.
We gotta have another one together. You can reverse that. If you follow our guidelines, if the fine you guys have to pay hours later, for example, if I go or I have to travel for work, and then I have a certain amount to food. I know you cannot send meals directly, but you should have some kind of allocation for food that you're going to that way. So my university standard is like $36 per day. And you know,
Right, but you still have to be sure, so the packaging that link that everyone took a picture of, you still have to follow guidelines as far as travel again, although it doesn't say a dollar. Follow that policy as well as your internal policy. So if your internal policy is $36, then you have to follow that.
you know, that there's an issue. We don't have a permit.
Oh, you don't have
No,
internal.
because they're
We don't
individuals.
belong to a
See,
university.
this is different.
Yeah.
So, how would you say that, Denise? Okay. How would you? What would you?
Asking about whether or not they are required to have some internal policies and procedures between an individual. We wouldn't even expect you to have that. Most of the time, universities have that. I think it's fair because Eligible, it was part of your solicitation to say that you were going to come here. Allowable, also part of the solicitation to say that you could come here. Now, she said that you had to pay $5,000 for a ticket to get from New York to DC. Unreasonable. That's going to be unreasonable for everybody. So we understand that you, as individuals, postdocs, you are your SRO. You do not have any written policies and procedures in place. You are only going by knowledge that you had from previous relationships with organizations that you know how they did it, and you're trying your best to stay on the straight and narrow. And that's all we're expecting you to do. We're also expecting all 4 of those categories.
And by the way, Denise, we're not going to do it in a new solicitation. It's going to be the award given to the institution.
Okay.
Oh,
We will eliminate a lot of
that's
this.
great. That's good. Yes. Hmm. So your question is, if your budget differs than what you submitted, what do you do? Uh, yeah. Yeah. So you have rebudget authority. Okay. As long as it doesn't change the objective or scope of your project, and you're taking money out of participant support, you can't do that. But if that doesn't fall into your question, then you have full rebudget authority. I read it.
Oh, you read it? Okay.
Yeah, it was. But let me go to that slide that shows that video. That's what I want. Right. So with the notifications, it's not playing.
So they wouldn't even have to submit a notification or
Right.
request it in the chat unless the scope of the project is changing
Mm-hmm.
or you're moving funds out of participant.
Right.
So you have the flexibility to move the money in those other categories.
Mm-hmm.
So out and about. Can you define participant for everyone?
How you define?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how
How
you
you
describe
define?
it. For them, I wouldn't even know how to describe it since they are the responsible research officer. So
Anyone
participants,
who's undergrad is one. Right?
so if they are participating in a project or some type of outreach with you, and they are not employees of the organization,
Mm-hmm.
they are considered participants. If your undergraduate students are employees of your organization, but it doesn't seem as though they would be because you're individuals, right? They wouldn't be under the
Salary.
salary under the NSF budget.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends upon what their roles are, if they're participating in an activity and not employees or a traineeship program. Participant support is generally indirect cost is usually not allowed for. I'm not sure whether or not these scholarships, do they have an indirect cost?
They
You
don't
don't
have
even have an
indirect
indirect cost on yours. What do you call it? But Harley and our Cartia has more to add.
So it's not salary is not part of our budget. So that would be part of the budget that would be covered salary of undergrad, something like that, which we are not allowed to replace, so we don't have any of that.
I think that's allowed. Some people actually,
So that's the question that we need to, it was something like that.
You need prior approval
What
for
about,
that.
what about, is that a question? So, if I'm going between two universities and that will travel, and I will have another U student in summer. If I want to pay for their travel to Puerto Rico, for example, then that will be participant expenses, or that will be part of my budget, and just describe the travel expenses, one to stay for undergraduate student, and for the research review at this other institution that I collaborated with, or that I do with my main institution. That's not considered participant, fund.
So for the RAU, the research experiences for undergraduates is an actual program.
And they have their own salary.
Yeah, right,
Which
right.
I don't mess with that.
Okay.
I just the spot, the advice for that. I'm the peer mentor.
Mhm.
But then part of that experience, I would like them to go to do volunteer to travel for 2 days to learn a new technique or something that is really different. If I pay that with my research funds,
Mhm.
is that allowed? Or it is not on my name? Can I get that to the student and everything else?
Unless it's specifically disallowed in the actual solicitation, I would say,
Okay.
Is it supporting your work?
Yes, of course,
Yes.
they're gonna be working hard on it.
Right, so it's within the scope of your work. It is a participant cost, however, because they're not an employee of yours, right? Yeah.
So I can move, so I can do it, but then I'll put it as a ask me. I'll report that I move that budget to budget one.
And that, you don't really get upset about that, moving it in.
Not moving it in, but moving it out requires prior approval. Yeah. But you have full rebudget authority, if that answers your question.
Sort of, I've never moved it into like a participant support thing, but so if we've already put the research allocation into our account, how do we, is it moving it to a participant support and you gotta put it back in and move it to a different place, or how do we do that?
You never had participant support costs on that budget line, is that what you're saying? And he wants to move money into participant support?
Yeah, he said he forgot about his undergrad, right? When you budgeted?
Undergrad?
Yeah, I mean, I might have mentioned undergrad mentorship or something, I don't know that I put paid undergrad, you know.
So it can be a little tricky with that because of the indirect costs, right? Because you cannot charge indirect costs on participant support. So if you didn't have that already, if you didn't have funds already on your participant support cost category, I think it's line F of the NSF budget, that can get a little tricky because of the indirect costs.
There's no IDP fund, there's not.
Oh, there's no, I keep forgetting about these fellows.
I would say, these funds are uncovered, so I will have to check.
That is
It's
messy.
very messy.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, to go back to your point, so then you can go ahead and rebudget, right, Denise? Because there's no indirect costs on salaries or anything, so it's not gonna be an issue if you wanted to add it into participant support from your salaries and wages.
Oh, it,
I don't know about that part. All right, in the
I've had this come up in the past, and what we ask is that people work with their institutions to try to figure out a way to do that, so that it's documented. Yeah. Because you're just writing people checks. That can really get you into some trouble.
I've already done that on a contracting basis, so,
Okay.
yeah, but I will have receipts and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why we're getting rid of it.
I'm going to a university.
It's gonna be transferred to the university, and the postdoc will remain the PI.
Will remain the PI, okay, okay. I saw a couple of hands. I'm gonna start back here. Go ahead.
Regarding the salaries, since now you are assigning the budget to the university, maybe can be transformed in the form of an account. Because when we hire undergrads at the university, we specify they're gonna be paid by these account numbers. And so the students basically think about selecting into the system, splitting the hours and so on.
Yeah, but every institution is different about whether they're gonna let you do that, so you just gotta work with your business office and talk to them, see if they can arrange something for you.
Okay. Jessica?
Yes,
upward or downward adjustments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't remember the
That
time.
one, yeah, that's, I'm in the, that email.
Was it 120 days? 120 days? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fellows don't do no cost extensions, right?
Okay, I wanted to hear her say that.
So, no cost extension based on the actual manual, they're gonna it's an emergency thing, when you have to lose some time of your services because you have problems.
No,
But
the
in this,
solicitation, it doesn't say that.
okay.
It will
So in
say-
this case, if you let's say have 10,000 extra dollars that you have to pay on sequencing or in something else that you couldn't really finish before the time, you can ask for a no cost extension and then use that record afterwards.
So you can't ask for a no cost extension just because you have money left over. It has to be right. Has to be research. Right. 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 Right.
I mean, money that you allocated for something and not being able to really get invoiced yet,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to pay for it.
And it's still research or work to be done. Yeah.
We talked about this before you were in that session, but it's generally 45 days.
45 days before the award end date. Mm-hmm.
If you have zero funds left, you cannot ask for a no cost extension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in this case, ends up getting another one here. Right? Because I have my account. So they already said that, so I don't know.
Because we don't want you working for nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure how she did, it seems like some of the postdocs are, as their own budget authority, are, taking money out for each expense from NSF. What Nikki had told me I can do is take all the money out, and put it in my account up front for research expenses.
Yeah.
And then you have it up front, and then, you don't have.
That's the way I agree.
Yeah.
That's why it's coming.
Yeah, that's why I want to hear her say it.
Okay.
There's no control mechanism. That's the problem.
So to Jessica's question about how long after my award ends, if I still have money in my account, can I have access to that money? It's 120 days after the end date. It will then financially renew.
But if they pull all the money at the beginning and it's going to show zero unliquidated balance, how can they get a no cost extension? The system won't allow for a no cost extension. Mm-hmm. If they pull all the money at the beginning.
So there are ways to get it done, whether or not you go through K.gov and return some of the money to NSF, so it looks like you have a balance left in it. That's one way. I can't give out my other secret right now, 'cause I don't want everybody to know about it, but if you are in a situation and you're in this room, call me. And
Yes.
I'll see if I can help
Yes.
you. You have the benefits of being
Yes.
in this room, or online.
Yeah.
Call me, we may be able to figure out something, but I don't wanna say something on it.
No, I told him this morning, we have rarely done that.
Yeah.
It's only for really extenuating circumstances.
Yes.
And I can't give that approval. Yeah, other people
The
got.
unless someone might be here, no, maybe not.
Because the issue is that NSF would, since we don't have to send a report, NSF would never know if you send the money before or after. But again, they will expect the invoices to be dated before the end of the award, or, as you said, 120 days from the end date. So if I get out of it and I have expenses 120 days after the end of the award, that is still out or
Yeah.
not?
Cost incurred prior to the end, but you didn't get your bill until 120 days later, 119 days later. That's allowable. The cost must be within the period of performance.
Okay.
Must be in the period of performance. But you have 120 days after the end date to go into the system to bring it down,
Unless you get a no cost
unless
extension.
you get enough.
But then in our case, that we will really have to know, NSF has zero balance. If I get out of it, I need to have all my expenses before the end of the
Yes.
year.
Yes,
about it, when you buy the UNICEF.
Yes.
It's the whole process.
It is a process, right? But you got it. You got it, though. You got it.
Don't try it.
Yeah, I encourage you not to do it, because it takes some organizing.
Yeah.
I don't know, is there a W-2 for?
And they don't report it.
Huh?
NSF told me they don't report it to the IRS, but then it leaves us in a, questionable place.
But it seems like they're gonna get this all together, right, with the new solicitation, or, yeah. But all of us, yeah, yeah.
But you have your award numbers, right? Because if you got this money. Yeah, you would have to use that as a proof of income. But how you tax it and how you claim it with the IRS, I can't even go there.
So I just did my taxes, and so I did it through HR and Boss, and I was talking to my tax accountant, and he was telling me that you have to go underneath like extra income instead of like doing self-employed, so then you don't pay self-employed taxes. So there's like a section on the website where you can fill out how much your stipend was. So then you only have to pay taxes based on based on your stipend. Well, that's another question. It's only the stipend that gets taxed, not just the fund.
Well, IRS counted everything.
Under Excel support,
Yeah, extra.
as a title or as a grant or as what?
Yeah,
One year together.
yeah, and there's also like a section for hobby. It's like in that same area that I was using for everything.
So as I told you, DGA will not give tax advice, I will not give tax advice. But if you're using any of that 30,000 for personal use, that's also probably something you should look at very closely, that's all I'm gonna say.
What about the brainstorming?
That's what I'm trying to say.
In the NSF policy, in the past year, it says determination of the tax status of an organization or a person receiving compensation in any form as a result of an NSF award is the responsibility of the IRS, the state, or the local authority, and the court. So NSF will not get involved.
Don't take a risk.
Yeah. So, since we're talking about taxes and stuff like that, it's not a question of tax, but doing tax cost evaluation against and also with no one institution, there's always a question about how about this type of like benefits, right? Maybe it's something that's recurrent, and there's like this obviously congruent solution, which is where you have a certain amount of money, some people might use that for work, and some other people might use that to pay for their health expenses, right? I want to ask you if there's anything going about trying to change that or involve more the receiving institutions to actually take into that for the actual employees.
So not the people who already have the award, but in the new solicitation, the award will be transferred to the institution, and they will do all of that for it.
Okay.
Read the new solicitation, there's significant changes in that stuff.
So that means that new postdocs would be having the same health insurance or benefits that the rest of people at that level of institution.
It depends on the institution, what they do for postdocs. It varies, is what I found. They will hire you as an employee, will they give you full benefits? Depends on the institution.
And there's also like the thing, and obviously that works for our prep too, right? These books that you need to go in prep or any other campus program. University too, perhaps, we can twist university's arm into doing things that perhaps won't be doing with some other types of postdocs. Which is, in other words, a way of saying that you have something that allows us to do with our institution and pushing it forward, something that is also going to open the doors for other jobs from other kinds of like state agencies or things like that, perhaps get some good and benefits eventually. So I feel that that is something that we can expect to do.
conversation about that this morning, and that if they have any kind of agency, in other words, is there a postdoc, senate, or something that their university needs that to try and make those policies more beneficial to you. The University of California just had a big lawsuit, right? The postdocs rose up and said, we're done with it, and they had to adjust their policies as a result. We don't get involved in that. I'm just saying, you have agency, try to use it. We do not get
But,
involved.
you know, and talking with administrators, what you saw their side of the coin, which is, well, the sense that parents got those dogs, but how should they that to the one thing for health, insurance benefits and so on, right? So I think that's an open conversation with that. And I don't think you can have an argument for either side. But, you know, at times when you go and try to make an argument with administrators, you're going to find some of them who are that.
I want to ask if there's any closeout questions, since so many of you will be closing out in the next 6 to 9 months. Do you know what you have to do to close out your award?
There's a report, right? There's the
Yeah, I
outcome
don't report
report.
on the visit.
Final report. And that's a normal.
And you don't need annual report, yeah.
No, it's final.
What was the question?
We need an annual for the final.
That's the same question, yeah. Yeah, so your final report is your last annual report.
Right.
And then if you had extra money, you submit it back to that, you said the research website, if you had extra money.
If there is extra money in the award 120 days after the end date,
Yes.
we will financially close the award
Okay.
and take back the money.
Because I took the money out into my account and then I submitted it back because I thought that I didn't have access to that through January 31st.
Yes.
I'm Deborah.
Yes, your friend.
You're my friend.
Thank you. That's why I'm here today.
I was looking for you this morning, I'm like, she's gonna be here, she said she's gonna be here.
No, you're fine because we extended your award by 1 month to cover this conference.
Okay.
You're my
1
friend.
month, they gave her 1
You're my
month.
friend. See, now I know Deborah's face. She can call me and say, hey Denise, I did this. And I remember that.
We are so grateful for that.
Yes, thank you.
You know the inside. But I wasn't doing
I thank you all for your time.
Was there any questions online? Oh, we forgot all about them.
Somebody asked a question about
I don't see any.
HBCU, but that didn't make
Nope.
that's not relevant.
No questions.
Are you, I saw a bunch of them.
I don't see any here.
On the phone app, I see them, on my computer, I don't see them.
Oh, well, I'm not seeing any here, so maybe you have a golden ticket.
Oh, look, hold on.
Literally nothing.
I didn't expect it to last an hour, but it did. Good conversation.
I don't know what this means.
We have a question back there.
Yeah, I have a excellence in research grant, and I'm just trying to, understand and go for that. But, I have a question about the EAR grant that I have, about the, money in the contractor. So if I want to reallocate, like I have extra publications, and I did not budget for many publications when I submitted the grant, now I have it, I can still use it without asking the program officer.
As long as the scope is not changing and there's nothing specific in the solicitation which disallows such costs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there are a couple questions on read.
Officer, we're about to read the people online.
Says, how far in
Please.
advance do no-cost extensions?
Will you use the microphone just because they won't be able to hear?
Come on.
They can't hear.
To turn it on or something.
Those two are on one channel, so just use one or the other. Thank
So
you.
we answered this earlier. How far in advance do no-cost extensions need to be submitted? 45 days in advance of the expiration. Okay. I'm going to read this one. I'm not sure what this means. Oh, this is for the GRFP. This isn't relevant to us, and I'm not going to be able to answer that question. So I'm going to tell this person we'll get back to them offline. All right. That's all really as far as questions we haven't already answered.
I thought of one of the CREST right, one of the investigators. How can I support one of the postdoc application? Is something, I know the application has to be submitted back also, right, but do I need to provide some sort of information to this application? Do I have some contact? I just want to understand that part.
Okay, so download the new solicitation, but these guys will tell you, if you're the sponsoring scientist, you have to write a letter that says you're gonna be that person, and you also have to develop a postdoc mentoring plan, and those have to be submitted. All the requirements are in the solicitation, laid out, step by step. So definitely download, and it's the new solicitation. The old one's been archived, that information is no longer relevant. All of these folks were under that one, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but it's not relevant now, it'll be a new solicitation, but I have that slideshow, if anybody wants the old one. It's relevant to all of them.
Thank you all for your time today.